All right. What's going on, everybody? J Myrex, altruist.com. Back once again. Um, Appreciate y'all for joining. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with your boy. Um, yeah, man. First of all, I want to wish everybody out there a happy holiday. Um, we're on the verge of Christmas, and I want to take this time to just wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Um, if you don't celebrate Christmas, I still want to wish you a happy holiday. I know for those of us that are in the holiday spirit, that are believers, the reason for the season is Christ. So I just want to wish y'all a Merry Christmas, and I wish you a lot of peace and prosperity. And yeah, man, this is a good time. This is a good time. Great time to be alive. Great time to be able to share your talents and your skills, and to share share the presence of other people for the benefit of society. So yeah, man, let me say what's up to the folks in the chat room already. Gird Up International Ministries. Appreciate you, fam. Peace and blessings to you as well. I hope all is well with you. I appreciate you. That one of my True Sound Creator members. I appreciate you, fam. 89106 WLV. Another True Sound Creator. I appreciate you, fam. Thank you for joining. Thank you for tapping in with your boy. Yeah, man, much love to everybody that has become a True Sound Creator and has jumped into the membership as well. Because like I told y'all, we're gonna be doing some cool stuff in here. I'm not playing. I'm actually trying to provide a different level of value, and I've made some investments to ensure that we can continue to do a bit more valuable streams for the members. So, you know, that's not to say that we're going to stop doing videos on this channel. Obviously, we're going to be doing videos on this channel. Everything is not going to be members only, so don't get concerned. I think we just want to level it up for the members. I think they deserve it. They are paying a premium to get access to stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna honor that. So they're gonna get some things that I may not do on the page, and some of the stuff, I mean, it may be just that they get early access to some videos before you guys get to see them. That's just part of the membership. So if you want to become a True Sound Creator to get access to the private live streams and some of the other stuff that I'm posting in there, hit the join button. You know, it's my my membership is not very expensive. I know there's other memberships that are much more expensive than mine's, and for the quality of information that I'm providing, I think it'll be well worth it. So hit the join button. But nonetheless, I appreciate y'all for even just supporting this channel. Like I said, we're going to continue to do new content on this channel. There's going to be some really cool things that we're going to be getting into in the future. So I'm excited. Like I said, this is just the beginning of things. And as you can see, I've ramped up my my frequency of streaming and posting videos. So that should just give you an indication. This is serious to me. This is a new season for me, and I want to provide new levels of value that I couldn't do in the past because of, you know, other obligations and just not being in the right space to do so. That being said, let's get into this topic. Let's get into this topic. You see the topic here. You see what I'm talking about here. So let me get things in order. You see the topic. The topic for today is really addressing hypocrisy in the music producer community. And let me tell you, there's plenty of it. I think we're and I really mean we, because there's everybody has different levels of hypocrisy that comes out in different scenarios and different situations. Even myself, I'm not immune to being a hypocrite in some regard in some areas of life. And I'm gonna address it. It's not to berate, but it's really for us to think. And in this season especially, it is a time of reflection. We're at the end of the year now. This is where we start to reflect on things that went right, things that we want to improve. I think areas that I want to improve. Yeah, I want to improve my consistency here, obviously. So that's something that I want to do in the coming year. But also, this is a good time to like reflect and think about how we treat others as well. It's Christmas time. This is a time where we can think about grace, and we can think about we can think about how we treat others, and are we treating others the way that we want to be treated in the end? Are we like I said, I'm a believer in Christ, so I try to pattern how I operate after Christ, but I'm not Christ, so I'll fall short too, and we all fall short. Everybody falls short, but I think it's difficult to correct things if you don't know where you may be falling short. Grace is a place where a lot of us can fall short, and we can kind of like judge other people on things while we do the same exact thing in a different form. And that's what I'm calling out today in this community. I'm calling out hypocrisy in the music producer community, because I think we can stand to also rethink some of the stuff that we do. If we want to improve how things are and what's going on, I think that calling it out gives us an opportunity to self-correct in the end. We can course correct if we know that something is not right, or something that we're doing may be in some way contributing to the same problem that we have with what's going on in the world. So let's get to it. As music producers, one of the things that I've seen over the years, especially as we get, more technology and things become quicker and easier for us to use, and, software is getting better. A lot of the creative tools are getting better. And because of the creative tools that are coming out, we have just faster ways to make music and record music. And one of the things that I've seen music producers, and it's not everybody, so let's not, before I get into naming these things, not everybody's doing it, first of all. Let me be very clear. This is not monolithic. We're not all doing this, but there are some of us doing this. So there are music producers out here that criticize artists for punching in their records. And this has become very common over time because of technology. There's actually like a New York Times video article basically exploring why artists don't write anymore, and why writing basically has become a thing of the past. But there's still producers out here that will criticize the artists for punch in recording. But meanwhile, music producers will use compositional assistance tools and chord modes and other stuff because we don't want to have to memorize chords and scales and chord progressions. We don't want to take the time to like really lock in these things to memory so that we can be more fluid in how we play our music. Is that hypocritical? I know some of you argue, well, no, that's just a creative tool. And, a compositional assistance tool just helps us to be more inspired and work out ideas quickly. But I would say the same argument could potentially be made about punch-in recording. Punch-in recording allows the artist to really hear how they would sound and really get some quick feedback on how what they're trying to write actually fits into a groove. And yeah, I know for us, we, music producers, we can hear when people punch in and don't do a great job of it. It doesn't sound natural. But to the same extent, if you just use chord modes and just put those in, those don't sound natural either. Those miss a lot of the nuances of, strumming and doing, glissandos and things when you play a chord, or the slight variations of velocity and whatnot that happen when you are playing chords like manually. You can say, like, if you punch in a whole bunch of chords using a chord mode, your stuff may sound choppy as well. Like your chord progression may sound choppy if you don't do it well. So it could be a little bit hypocritical for some producers to berate and belittle artists that punch in to write their songs, because it's the same thing in the end. Like you want to get to you want to get to hearing the song in a way that makes you understand or get more confident about the direction that you're going in. And I think using the chord mode can help you do that, but punching in can help the artist do that as well. It helps them to establish the rhythm, the melody, the emphasis on the bars, and all kind of other things. So think that can be hypocritical. Obscure Streets, what's good with you, fam? I appreciate you yesterday for joining the stream. Yeah, I think that's one area that we can be hypocritical. Another area that we can be hypocritical. Some producers criticize artists that rely on Autotune. There's producers that really don't like that there are artists that cannot sing without Autotune, cannot record a song without Autotune. There are producers that completely despise that. But at the same time, there are producers that can't record a song, a beat, a melody, a passage without using quantize. Is that hypocritical? Is that hypocritical for us to call out an artist for not being able to record their song without using Autotune? Meanwhile, there are some of us that are scared to record a beat, music, a melody passage, or anything without hitting quantize or without having quantize on. I think it's hypocritical. I think it's very hypocritical. I think, obviously, these are tools. Autotune is a tool. Quantization is a tool. They both correct the input from a musician in a way that helps it sound more locked in. If a music producer overuses quantize, it can sound very unnatural, artificial. It can sound robotic, mechanical. If an artist overuses Autotune, the same thing can occur. It can sound robotic. Literally, it can sound like a robot. So it's hypocritical. It can be hypocritical for us to berate an artist that's using a tool that can assist them in making a better quality of record in the end. Now, that's not to say that, there's not bad usage of things, because there's absolutely bad usage of these tools. If you don't use them right, they will sound bad. They will sound horrible. I don't care how much quantization you use. If you don't use it, if you don't use the right quantization values and swing values and whatnot, if you don't use it in a way that still respects the art and the nuances that help to make music sound good, then you'll lose the plot. So I think it's hypocritical for us to just berate people that use things that are helping them to create better music. Recently, since I've been doing more YouTube videos and I've been doing these comparison tests, especially, this next point really, this is a big one for me. We complain that the quality of music is going down. Meanwhile, we say things like, no one can even hear that anyhow. I've seen music producers say that, especially, like I said, since I've been doing some of these comparison tests. Music producers will say things like, no one can hear that anyhow, when we start talking about sound quality. Tyrone Sellers, I appreciate you, fam. He said, it's not much, but I appreciate you going live today. Can't afford the membership right now, but I still support what you do. Now, I appreciate it, fam. I appreciate you. I know everybody can't afford the membership. Now, I will say, man, your super chat is actually more than my membership. Your super chat is 2 times the the cost of my membership right now, but I appreciate you, fam. I really appreciate you. I appreciate the super chat here. Listen, the quality of music is going down, but part of the problem is the lack of music production being employed as well. It's not the only problem. It's part of the problem. Some of us as music producers are not doing our job as well. Some of us are getting a bit too complacent in saying that, well, because everybody streams now, nobody can hear this. Nobody can hear this nuance. Everybody just listens on their iPhone, so it doesn't matter. Everybody's just listening on YouTube now or Spotify, so the quality doesn't matter. It's hypocritical, because the reality is people can hear the differences in sounds, and people can hear things that are being done in our mixes. My wife is not a professional music producer. Now, she does have some advantages of knowing about equipment because she's been around equipment, but she hasn't put 10,000 hours in on music production, not even close. So she's not a music producer at the level that I am, and definitely, not at the level of a lot of people that have put in the work. She's mainly a music listener, but she knows the difference. She can listen to a song and point out that sounds like an MPC. And her terminology, or her wording for it is got that boxy, like woofy sound that you get from the MPCs, because she's seen and she's heard an MPC before, so that's why she has enough language to say it sounds like an MPC. But even as an average listener, even if you don't have the language because you don't know the tools, those differences in sound are perceptible. They are perceptible. even if you're not a music producer, you can hear these differences. Now, someone that doesn't have the language and exposure, they may just say they don't like it. They may say it doesn't sound as professional. They may use other things. They may use other words to express what they're hearing. Um, but they can hear it. So it's a cop out to say that nobody can even hear this stuff. No, we can hear it. It's just that the music audience may not have the language and the exposure to express what they're hearing. So no, they may not be able to point out what gear you used. They can't say, oh, you use this compressor on that, or you use this preamp on this, or you use, this drum machine or whatever. They don't know that. They can hear if they like it or not. They can hear if the sound hits. They can say if a song hits for them. So does that matter? It absolutely matters. And I think as a music producer, we still need to take our role in shaping the music and saying, hey, my audience may not understand what I'm using and how I'm producing this, but they can hear the end result. And it's my job to make sure that I do everything in my power to make sure that they get a good experience, and it's an experience that matches what I would like for them to hear in the end. I want them to feel these things. I want them to hear these things in my music. And if it's important as a creative choice for you, if you're, when you make a sound choice, when you pick a preset from a synthesizer or you design a sound or something like that, you're making a choice about what you like and what fits your musical taste, and also what you want to be heard in the mix. You're making that decision. They don't know what preset you use. Your listener doesn't know what preset you use. They don't know what you did to get the sound. They just hear the final result. But it does matter what you use. It obviously matters what preset you use if you're using a synthesizer. It obviously matters what settings you use on a compressor or a preamp or whatever. It matters. All the decisions matter. So it's a cop-out for you to say no one can even hear, or it doesn't matter because of the tools and the devices that we believe the average consumer is using to listen to our music. Because you'd be surprised, like as much as we talk about everybody just using the phone, there's a lot of other devices that people use to listen and consume music. And I'll get into this on a later stream, but we definitely need to talk about just the vast variety of devices that actually are in the consumer domain. Because I think a lot of music producers actually got it twisted, and they're using this whole, like, if it sounds good on the phone, then I'm straight. And it's like, if we really look at the consumer market and explore the variety of different things that people are using, it'll be easy for you to see, like, no, I got it wrong. It's definitely more than just the phone. Manye Smith, I appreciate the super chat, fam. Let me get to this. Hey, Allsters, I got the EA Ski cassette thumb drive with 700 drums and they hit hard. How do I get the drums to hit like that? How do I get the drums to hit like that? Can I do it on an MPC-1 or do I need analog gear to get the same quality as EA Ski? Thanks for all you do. The reality is EA Ski is processing his sounds. He's processing his sounds. So he's provided his processed drum sounds so that you can get access to the quality of sounds that he's able to achieve in his studio. So when we capture and record a sample and we distribute it for others to use, we're capturing the sound quality so that we can distribute it to other producers so that they can use it in their own studio. So if you use an MPC and you're using the samples that EA Ski recorded in his studio using the processing and all the techniques that he uses to get his sound. Now that you've put that in your sampler, you are now accessing what he's processed. Now, if you're talking about other samples that you have that haven't been processed with the same signal chain as EA Ski, yeah, you may need to explore the different analog processors and different tools that he has in his studio, and you'll need to potentially get some of that stuff and learn how to use it so that you can achieve the same quality with the samples that you have that have not been processed by him. So that's how that works. So getting back to the topic, if music is going down, if the quality of music is going downhill, music producers are also partially to blame. Now, another bigger topic is that a lot of music producers are not even being allowed to be a part of the sessions anymore. So I understand that too. It's a lot of music producers that make a beat, send it out to an artist. The artist gets the 2-track and then they just want to hurry up and record. They don't allow you to be a part of the process. They don't allow you to revise and do the things that a producer would really do. Like, no, we need to change this sound. This isn't working. We need to move this around. A lot of you aren't getting the opportunity to even do that. But even taking a step back, I've seen it firsthand now, because I've seen what you guys, not all of you, but some of you guys are saying when I did these comparison tests. Some of you said it doesn't matter. Nobody can even hear that stuff. So we got to make better decisions too. We can't be hypocritical. We can't talk about the quality of music going down. Meanwhile, we make decisions that don't help to improve the overall quality. It's the more that we lower the bar for music, the more that the quality is going to go down. Like it's just a fact. So I think it's hypocritical for us to take this viewpoint while not doing the best that we can do to make sure that we preserve or keep a high standard for music on our side. So I think, even not to go back, but I think I need to bring this up again, because I think when we start talking about these high standards and stuff, I think that was part of why a lot of people were disappointed with the Rhythm Roulette from Timbaland, because we hold him in a high regard as music producers. He's accomplished a lot as a music producer. He's done some really game-changing stuff. He definitely redefined what pop music and pop production sounded like at a certain point. So he is very highly regarded, and he's also been an innovator over his career. But the Rhythm Roulette, it didn't come across like he was holding himself to a high standard on what he did. And I think the viewers could sense that, because number one, we can look at his catalog and say, well, this kind of doesn't match like the quality standard of his catalog. But we also can look at past Rhythm Roulettes and say, well, it doesn't necessarily hold up against the quality of production and also the level of inspiration that I've gotten from past Rhythm Roulettes. So in anything that we do, it's important to have a high standard, especially as a creative, especially as someone that's trying to provide an experience that somebody that wants viewers and listeners and whatever you're going for as far as like your artistry and career is concerned. It's important to hold yourself to a high standard and to objectively look at your stuff and listen to your stuff and make decisions to increase the quality overall. I always look at my my streams that I do and my videos that I do, and I compare them to what other people are doing, and I'm trying to figure out what I can do to make it better. Like, even on this stream right now, I kind of don't like the lighting that I have right now. I think I I may do some adjustments to it, just being objective. I think these are the types of things that I do to continue to improve what I'm doing on every level. Um, these are objective criticisms and critiques that I can have on myself so that I can stay in a mode where I'm trying to improve what I'm doing, as opposed to just being complacent and saying, oh, well, I'm doing it. I'm the one that's doing it and it's me, so it's good. I think that's part of like the disappointment that some folks had with the Timbaland thing, was that we didn't see him. I mean, it's one thing for him to have like intuition as a hit producer, and I think him having an intuition cannot be understated. He definitely, if anyone could have an intuition about what could be a hit, it is him. But I think also we can look at just the level of excitement that he has for what he's doing, and also the just the overall quality of the music in the end, and say, well, do we like it? Is it as exciting as things that we've seen him do in the past? I mentioned in one of the threads on one of the shorts here, Timbaland had a classic moment captured on video in that Jay-Z session, where he's playing off of his ASR 10. He plays the Dirt Off Your Shoulders beat. And if you look at that video and the amount of animation and excitement that he had to share that beat. Now, he has shared multiple beats during that session, but he was super like animated and excited, and he was feeling that beat. And I think that's what we know Timbaland for, and we know that when he's excited about something, he's going to show his enthusiasm. So I think capturing a moment like that set a high bar also for what we would expect to see from him as far as inspirational moments are concerned. And I just think that's where I feel like he didn't deliver in the end, because he was very toned down. But there might be more to that. There might be more to that. So I'm gonna get to that later on in this stream. There might be a little bit more to why he was the way he was in that rhythm roulette. I'm gonna move on for now, but I'm gonna get back to that point, because I had some other thoughts about why that may have been the case. Manye Smith, I appreciate the super chat. Thank you, fam. Appreciate you, man. He said, I'm interested in making an instrumental album. I have no interest in mixing or recording vocals. Do you think I need to learn everything about music production, or can I make a living doing instrumentals? Listen, I think if you want to make a living off of anything, you need to take it very seriously. You need to have a strategy around how you do it. You need to have a system around how you do it. And you need to make sure that you approach it in a way that ensures that it's reproducible in the end. You can't, if you want to make a living off of it, it can't be that you just got lucky one time, or you got lucky every time you mixed a record, or you got lucky every time you recorded a sound. It can't be, you can't rely on like luck of the draw when it comes to doing something professionally and making a living off of it. Now, of course, there's those moments that they call like capturing lightning in a bottle, right? Where it's like you just captured a once in a lifetime moment. That's something that happens as well, but you can't rely on that. You cannot rely on it just being this thing where like you got lucky and you captured something. Because as a independent, you're not always going to have like I think oftentimes you're not going to have like a major hit as an independent. It just is what it is. You don't have the audience. You don't have the reach. So relying on that to be the thing is not the right way to approach it. You definitely need to learn your craft and dig deep. And you need to, as a producer, you need to know a lot about a lot of different things in order to manage your systems. Because like I said, when you're making something a profession, you have to have a system. You may not want to mix everything as part of your system. Being a music producer doesn't require that you mix everything. You can hire a mix engineer. You may not want to record everything that you do. You can have a recording engineer. I know very talented music producers that have mix engineers and have recording engineers. A good example of this is Terrace Martin. I've been in sessions with him. He has a recording engineer. Terrace definitely knows how to record himself. He knows how to mix himself. He knows what to use, what he wants to put on his channels. And I've watched him produce, and I've watched him instruct his mix engineer, put this on this channel, add this to it, put it to this setting. Like, he has a certain thing he does to get his sounds, and he vocalizes that to his mix engineer. He tells them, pull up this, turn it to this setting, do this, do that. You cannot do that unless you know your craft. You have to know what you're doing in order to be able to instruct someone on what to do. Even if you decide that you are not going to be the guy that does the recording or mixing in the end, you still need to know enough to be able to say, pull this up, turn it to this, do it like this. I need this amount of this on this channel. All of those things require you to know your craft. So you definitely need to know your craft and then figure out your system for producing your music so that it's reproducible. That process is reproducible so that you can have a consistent sound across different projects. This was a very high level question, so I'm gonna leave it there and say you definitely need to learn everything about music production. But as you start to work on your projects, you can make a decision on how much you want to get in the weeds on certain things, because it may be more efficient for you to have a staff of people working with you and pay them for their abilities and talents while still leveraging your ability as a music producer that knows what you're going for and what sound you want in the end, and being able to instruct the people around that are working with you on what to do. But I think as a music producer, you can't be afraid to pay others for the things that you need to be successful in your craft. And that leads me to my next point in terms of the hypocrisy in the music producer community. We often talk about artists not wanting to pay for beats, and not to harp on Timbaland, because this ain't about Timbaland really, but he came up, he brought this up too. He talked about the value of production going down. A lot of producers talk about artists not wanting to pay money for beats, and all they want to do is pay for leases, or all they want to do is go to YouTube and snatch stuff off YouTube, or they'll only go for the free beat on your BeatStars page or whatever. They won't break bread with you or whatever, right? We talk about that and we complain about that, and we also talk about how we're not getting paid from other platforms, Spotify don't pay and this and that and whatever. We talk about this, right? Meanwhile, there are producers out here that don't even want to pay for their software tools. They don't want to pay for the sample libraries. We all got to take inventory on this. How many of you guys out here have cracks of tools? How many of you guys have cracks of these expensive contact libraries that exist. You know, there's I don't put it in the chat, please. If you do have a crack, I'm being, you know, I'm just trying to make a point here, right? But there are like super expensive string libraries that I know a lot of you ain't paid for. A lot of you guys ain't paid for, you know, Symphobia and, you know, East West Strings and some of the other expensive string libraries that you guys may be using in your production. I know it. I've come across a lot of producers that have these sample libraries that obviously are way more than they probably would pay for something in the software domain. So they've cracked it. And you want to use that in your production. But then we complain about artists not wanting to pay for beats, and we're cracking software libraries. Somebody just said Wave Mercury crack. Absolutely. You know, how many of you guys had the whole Waves Mercury bundle, thousands of dollars of Waves plugins, and they ain't paid for it? Ain't paid for it. This is the hypocrisy that we got to check ourselves on, because it's an energy. That's an energy. That is that creates a network effect. Because if we're saying our production is valuable, but then we don't want to pay for the tools that enable us to make better music, then we're being hypocrites. You know, think about how much it really costs to. I'm sure a lot of you guys haven't really thought about the cost of recording an orchestra and all the parts of an orchestra and having a very long session to record said orchestra. You know, if you're paying an hourly rate and you have this huge ensemble, think about how expensive that is. That's just the personnel on the orchestra. We ain't talking about the studio and the type of studio that you would need to record said orchestra, right? And then you'll see this price on the library, the sample library, and say, oh no, I'm not paying for that. That's crazy. They want how much for it? Well, how much do you think it cost them to actually make that sample library? We ain't even getting into, like, if it's something for contact, how many hours of scripting and the cost for them to use some person that has learned scripting and can understand how to make script this content in a way that makes it a usable, responsive instrument. Because a scripter ain't cheap either. A contact scripter or whatever platform you're working on, that's not cheap either. So we look at all of these things in terms of like how that creates the price for, or the cost for the software. And, you know, there is a hypocrisy in this music producer community when people start to charge for tools. It's a lot of us that don't want to pay for that stuff still. And, you know, I saw it firsthand yesterday. It was comedy, and I laughed at it, but it proved my point. You know, yesterday I went live shortly, and it was actually not intentional. I actually didn't do this intentionally. It was actually a setting mistake on YouTube, but I went live because I was going to do a members only stream, and I did a great members only stream, and we went through the process of me relocating some equipment and, you know, connecting it and troubleshooting it and doing this stuff. And it's about an hour and 30 minutes of content. It was something that I just intended to be members only, but I went live for like 2 minutes. And once I realized it was like public, I course corrected on that. But in that 2-minute video, you know, I start talking about workflow and, you know, what we're going to get into in the members only stream. But it seemed like as soon as I said, this is members only, and we're going to switch to the members section only, here came hate and people complaining and people throwing hissy fits. I had several people unsubscribe completely from the channel on that short live stream, the accidental live stream. Um, I had people unsubscribe. I had people thumbs down the video. It was very interesting to see, considering the amount of free information, free content that I do on this channel. The vast majority of the content on this channel is free, and it's been free, and I will continue to be doing free content. It's not going to stop. But like I said, I'm going to also create more value, and I understand my value. I've been in music tech for 20 years. I've made hundreds of products. I offer a lot of value as a music producer, and the information that I'm providing has value. It's actually like the information that I provide and that I can provide is actually way more valuable than the $4.99 that I'm asking for the membership. If you want, the membership is just for you to get some inside looks at some of the stuff that I normally wouldn't put on this channel because of format and other things also. But I know my value is way higher than $4.99. And once we start getting into some real deep stuff, like I said, I have 20 years of music tech experience, like professional music tech experience, not playing around in my home studio, but working for some of the biggest companies in music tech. Yamaha, working for Native Instruments for 15 years. I've paid my dues. So if I ask a price for what I'm doing, for the information or for inside look at what I'm doing behind the scenes, I'm very much in my right to do so. But it's very interesting that as soon as I put a price on the value that I add, there were people that already said, oh no, absolutely not. Dislike, unsubscribe, buy. As if there's entitlement to all of my information and knowledge for free. It's hypocritical because these same people will want people to pay for their music project when it comes out or their beats. The same people will want to get paid for what they do. And, to be honest, like I said, anything I'm trying to do, I'm investing into it. So even with this YouTube channel and the streaming and stuff, I've invested into it. Don't get it twisted. I didn't just start jumping on here and start going live. First of all, I've been doing live video content for years now. And I've continually invested, new cameras, new stream capture cards, all kind of stuff. Let me show you some stuff just so you know. So back in the day when I was first trying to get into using a DSLR to stream, there wasn't a lot of options. I would say I was early on the streaming. I got into live streaming before the market was really there. And before I was using DSLRs, I was using webcams. So, I was on platforms like Ustream and doing live streams and whatnot. And then I came to YouTube and started doing live streams. And I first started doing it with the webcam. And then I said, no, I need to up the quality. The webcam looks horrible. Again, me looking at objectively what I'm providing as a value and how can I make it better quality, right? I was using the webcam first. I didn't like the way the lighting looked on it. So I invested in lighting. Lighting didn't fix it. I said, I got to upgrade and use something else. So then, like I said, because I was early, there wasn't a lot of options, especially for Mac. The streaming game was kind of more like there's options on PC. There's not so many options on Mac. I hunted down. I found a solution at that time. This was 2016, 2017. I found a solution. These are early, these things right here. These are early capture cards that I bought. So I have two of them. Now, These are 720p capture cards. At that time, that was the best that I could get, 720p capture cards. And these allowed me to connect my DSLR to the computer so that I can stream. These things here were $350 a piece back when I bought them. They were not cheap. And they were only 720p. I couldn't get 1080p if my life depended on it because these don't do it. This is all I could get. And I paid $350 for them, plus the cost of the cameras and all the other stuff. And, you know, I continued to add on the streaming setup as well. Now, you know, these capture cards here now, these are obsolete now. This is, you know, what you would call sunk cost now, right? Like obsolete now, like I can't do anything with them. They don't look good by today's standards. I've had to upgrade my system since then. I've had 2 different iterations of streaming equipment since then. What I'm doing is of value, not only because of the level of information that I'm providing, but also because I've invested to try to create the best experience for this that I can possibly do. I've upgraded my equipment. My streaming equipment is better. You know, I'm able to provide different angles now. Like, let me see here. You know, like recently I just added the overhead now, right? So I got the overhead here. You know, I'm trying to provide an experience. I really am. Now that's tripping right now. That's tripping right now. Hold on. And see, that's the kind of stuff, even that, like I'm trying to provide an experience. Oh, I see. My software tripped on me. But yeah, when you're trying to provide an experience, and let me see if I can troubleshoot this live here. There we go. So when you're trying to provide an experience, right? There we go. When you're trying to provide an experience, you have to invest. You have to invest. And that's the thing. I'm trying to provide an experience here. I'm trying to give you access to things and trying to improve what I'm doing as my craft, right? So part of the craft here is the live streaming and how I provide the information. So like having multiple cameras in here, right? Like being able to like provide you access and show you different things and being able to do like the screen shares and all that stuff. Like I've had to invest in that. It's not cheap. So when I put a price on it, it's because I've invested in it. And I know the information and also the quality of information that I'm providing has value. Let me get to the super chat here. Appreciate you, Manye Smith. He says, you speak in facts, all trust. That's why I super chat every time I ask a question, because I don't take guys like you and EA Ski for granted. You guys are a blessing from Jesus Christ. That's how I feel. Thank you. Man, I appreciate you, fam. That's all I'm trying to like really provide real value here. This is not, you know, a game for me, because I want to make sure that you walk away with something. First of all, I want you to walk away inspired, but I also want you to walk away with information that's valuable, that can take you along your career as a music producer, regardless of what you do. Like I'm trying to make sure that I really give you something that you can walk away with and use in your production. And also some of the stuff is like life stuff. I'm like, some of these things I'm talking about are life lessons. They are things that you should be looking at as far as like values and the way that you carry yourself in life. So that's the value I'm trying to bring. That's literally the value I'm trying to bring. But I've invested in what I'm doing to try to give you a value. I'm not playing around with it. Everything is serious for me here. As a music producer, even doing this YouTube stuff is part of like the production value. It's all production value in the end. And it's looking at how I can improve the production value of what I'm doing so that it feels valuable and it feels strong, right? That being said, I think there's still some hypocrisy in the community when it comes down to like the expectation that the thing that you're doing as a music producer is valuable and should be paid for. But meanwhile, when people put a price on things like I just mentioned, you know, my dude Terrace Martin, he has engineers and other people that work with him, and I'm sure he has to pay them for them to be around and do the things he needs to do. That being said, I said I was going to get back to this, but going back to the Timbaland thing, right? Could it be, and this is just a question. It's just a question. Don't know the answer. Don't know the answer to this. But could it be the case that Timbaland didn't perform the way we expected or would have liked him to have performed because it was a free piece of content? Is it the case? It's a question. I don't know the answer, but as I started to think about it more, I said, okay, yeah, Timbaland does have his Beat Club platform, and he also has, you know, his Twitch stream and other things that may be monetized. Now, I don't know the setup with Rhythm Roulette, right? I don't know if Mass Appeal pays the people that come on the platform or not. I know there are other like interview platforms and whatnot where people are paid to come on the platform. Like I'm not a big fan of this one, but I'll say DJ Glad, right? If you watch, you can kind of, I hope you understand what I'm saying. If you watch DJ Glad on YouTube, DJ Glad pays people that come on his platform. It's not free. When you see him interviewing someone, they get paid. Now, I don't know what their arrangement is. Sometimes it's different arrangements. Sometimes it's a revenue share. Sometimes they'll say, hey, you know, I'll pay you this much money to do this interview. All the platforms are different, but these people get paid to come on and share their information. I don't know if Mass Appeal actually paid Timbaland, and I don't know if they offered Timbaland a revenue share on the views on that particular video. But I would imagine if he is not getting paid, right? If he just did it for the love, right? As a multi-platinum producer that can get money in various other ways, doing video content and doing beat breakdowns of his own process and, you know, whatever he wants to do to monetize what he does and as a music producer. If he's not getting paid on the Mass Appeal presentation, I can imagine that he probably would hold back. Think about it. And I know that some of these guys that went on Mass Appeal, from what I can tell, I don't know. I can guess. I'll say it like that. I don't know. I can guess that there's been a lot of guys that went on Rhythm Roulette that didn't get paid at all. They just did it for the love of the sport. Because, of course, when you start talking about musicians, that's one of the main things. That's one of the main tools that are used against us. It's like, don't you love what you're doing? If you love what you're doing, you would do it for free, right? Like, if you love music, you would do it even if you weren't getting paid. You hear people say that, and it's a very manipulative way of getting someone to do something. if they approached him and he said, yeah, I'll do it, and I'll just do it for the love of the sport, I could see why he would have held back and not gave all the sauce, so to speak, on a free rhythm roulette. And we kind of have to respect that. As I thought about it more, I said, I can actually respect that. But at the same time, there's ways to do that. I think, number one, you still got to respect people's time and people's expectation. And if you know that you can't provide a certain experience, if you know that it's going to be a disservice to you to provide a certain level of information or experience without making it where you are also a beneficiary of the results, then you can decline, right? You could say, no, sorry, fam, I can't do that. You don't have to say yes to doing anything as a musician. You don't have just because someone presents you with an opportunity, you don't have to say yes. I think if you decide to say yes, you're kind of making a commitment to show up, right? If you say yes, you're making a commitment to show up and to provide the value that people are expecting when they ask you to be a part of the whatever it is you're being asked to be a part of, right? So I think one thing that Timbaland could have done is he could have said no. And he could have just done the rhythm roulette on his own platform, and he could have had people pay for access to it. He could have done a masterclass or whatever it is that allows him to also benefit from it, because he should benefit from it. There's no reason we should expect to be able to see all of his secrets and all of his process as like one of the biggest hit producers in the game ever. There's no reason we should be able to see all of that for free, if we're being honest and realistic about it. So like the fact that we would expect to be able to see all of the secret sauce of his production workflow and him not get paid heftily for it, it's actually a bit entitled, and it's kind of ridiculous if we really put on our empathetic hats and say, okay, yeah, I can see why he would not want to share all of that. So I think that's one thing he could have done those are multiple things. He could have said no, but he also could have said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it on my platform. That way I control it. And I also get paid for it. And it makes more sense for me. But I thought about that and I said, yeah, it's possible. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if he's actually getting paid for it or not. But I do know how it is in this music producer content domain. People will try to extract value from you without paying you. They will approach you to be a part of different things, like, can you be on my platform? Can you join my stream? Can you do XYZ? I want to do a video with you. People do all kind of stuff because you have a certain talent or you have certain accolades or certain value. Your information is valuable, and they will ask you to be a part of things and never once mention or even make an offer to pay you to be on said platform. And their channel may be monetized, and they may have other monetization strategies that you are not aware of, that they're leveraging, and they're using your expertise and they're using your knowledge and your notoriety to build up their thing, right? And I've had to check myself on that, especially now. Just my situation is different. So when people approach me with that, I'm a bit more skeptical and questioning, like, should I do this? If I get on a stream with you for a couple hours, because even it's more than that, right? Like if I tell you I'm getting on a stream, I gotta show up. I want to make sure my grooming is right. I might have to pay and get a lineup, haircut, whatever. Um, I gotta get dressed for it. I gotta come and get my stuff together in my studio, sound check, troubleshoot stuff with you, all this kind of stuff. So it could take hours on my time to participate in something like this. So because doing video content, you take time to do pre-production to set everything up to make sure things are working, right? And that you can showcase what you want to showcase. And people come and will ask you to do these things and not once think about paying you or providing you anything on the back end or just up front. So it happens a lot. It happens more than it should, considering, especially for adults. I think, if you're trying to build up your platform and you're trying to leverage somebody else to help build up your platform, you should think about what value you're offering to them in return. Now there's some people that I've done stuff with that, because I do have a love for them, and they've been good friends, or they, in a lot of cases, they actually have held me down in different ways. So a good example of this is like I did a live stream with EA Ski a couple weeks back. Actually, EA Ski didn't pay me for it, but EA Ski has provided a lot of value to me over the years. Obviously, and he'll tell you about this too, like connecting me with Locksmith and getting me on the Locksmith project, provided a lot of value and visibility for my production. He's also, helped me with getting different gear, he helped me get the Renaissance back in the day and helped me get, he definitely got me a good deal on the SP1200 and even the MPC XSC. He's helped me so much. So from that perspective, I'm happy to be able to provide a value and be on this platform and do that without asking for anything, because he's provided so much. And that's not to say like I haven't reciprocated stuff for him over time. I've definitely, like, me being on his platform was me doing that because we're good friends. But I've paid my way as well with him. So it's I think when we start talking about extracting value from people, you should also think about what value provided to that same person. And I've made sure on my side that when he calls, he needs help with stuff, I'm there. I'm giving him the help that he needs, whether it's troubleshooting something or helping him to think about certain stuff differently or whatever it is, right? I'm there. If he needed help with, software, whatever it was, I would help. So it's reciprocal. It's about having a reciprocal relationship and not just being about extracting value from people in the end. So getting back to the video and like the Timbaland thing, I wonder if they paid him. If they didn't pay him, then I can understand why he didn't give Mass Appeal the goods. Now, I just saw somebody say, isn't appearing on a popular stream like advertising for yourself? If it is a popular stream, if the stream has more notoriety and more reach than what you have as a artist or as a guest or whatever, right? This is Timbaland. Timbaland is a global celebrity in music. He's probably one of the most um, he's probably one of the most notorious producers that exist out in this hip hop domain and also within the R&B scope, because he's also an artist and he has records and he raps and does other things and he's in music videos. He is globally known. I would argue that Timbaland is more well known than Mass Appeal. I would argue that. I can make a strong argument for that, actually. Mass Appeal being a platform that, it serves the hip hop community, especially. It is a big platform. And I think there are other producers that could go on it, and definitely they're getting more value out of it. If you're a less well-known producer that doesn't have the hit records and notoriety of a Timbaland, you go on that, especially being a producer, you're behind the scenes most of the time. It gives you the opportunity to now showcase who you are and like put a face with the name as a music producer. Timbaland did not need Mass Appeal to put a face with his name. People know what Timbaland looks like. People know who Timbaland is. He's not a behind the scenes producer. So him appearing on Mass Appeal doesn't have the same impact on his brand. It's not giving him the same reach. It's not improving his reach. Not from my perspective, especially Mass Appeal. Mass Appeal doesn't generally have like a younger audience. Now, if Timbaland, like on the flip side of that, if Timbaland went on Kai Cenat's stream, Kai Cenat is like the biggest streamer on Twitch, and he has a mainly young audience. If Timbaland went on Kai Cenat's stream and just talked, he didn't have to make a beat, even if he just talked and like hung out with Kai Cenat, that would be way more valuable for his brand today, because he would be interacting with a younger audience, an audience that he probably doesn't reach already, because maybe a lot of his stuff doesn't reach the younger crowd. I don't know that he has a lot of big records that younger music listeners really care about. They may know his older stuff, but he might be looked at as an older producer at this point. So going on a Kai Cenat channel on Twitch would definitely expand his reach. But Mass Appeal, if I'm not mistaken, Mass Appeal is Nas's platform, right? Isn't that what it is? That's, if I'm not mistaken, that is, let's see here. Mass Appeal. Let me just make sure I get my facts right here. Who's the owner of Mass Appeal now? Yeah, that's Nas, right? Mass Appeal is founded by Nas. Nas is a global celebrity as well, but I would say that the platform Mass Appeal still widely, even the name, it's playing off of the old Gang Starr song, right? So you understand like that connection is connected to like a classic hip hop song. It appeals to a audience that may be more interested in like classic hip hop, and even Nas and what he does. Nas, I think, recently has been able to like cross some barriers in age by teaming with Hit Boy. I think that solidified some of that his relevance to a younger audience, but not that young of an audience, because Hit Boy is not very young anymore. Hit Boy, I wouldn't consider a young producer anymore. Hit Boy is, he's a in the older domain of producers now. Yeah, Hit Boy's 37 years old now, so he doesn't qualify as being a young producer, even though some of us may look at him as a younger producer or have traditionally looked at him as a younger producer. He's not a younger producer at all. He's a grown man with children, 37-year-old. Um, so even Hit Boy's audience doesn't necessarily connect Nas to the early 20-year-olds and teens and whatnot. But going on Kai Cenat's platform, Timbaland would be reaching a younger audience. Timbaland would definitely have reached a younger audience, so that he probably could have gotten more value out of that in the end. So that being said, I question, I wonder if they actually paid Timbaland. I hope they did. I hope he commanded some type of revenue share or something to make it valuable. But if he didn't, it would make so much sense why he didn't perform the way we would have expected him to perform on that Rhythm Roulette, being the global musician and face of music that he is. I could see it. And for that, I would give him grace and respect that he didn't do what I would have expected. I know I talked way longer than the usual 30 minutes, but there was so much there. There was so much there, and we also had some super chats and things we had to take care of as well. So I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna get back to the chat now and see what y'all talking about. So I appreciate y'all that have been kicking it this far. We're gonna keep it going. I know it's Christmas Eve. Some of y'all gonna be, hanging out, getting with your family and whatnot. And I appreciate y'all that have spent even an hour or 30 minutes of your time with me. Much appreciated. I'm gonna keep it going for a while. So I, much love and respect to y'all, man. William O says, I think he commanded a hefty payout, but it may have been more if it was 15 years ago. I hope he did. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. And even if it was like a upfront payment, YouTube is a platform that pays revenue share in the end. So as a video content person myself and understanding just the mechanics behind that, if Timbaland had an episode that went completely viral, right? And I don't know where he's at, right, where this video is at right now. Let me have a look at it. Let me have a look. Looks like they just did a Robert Glasper one as well, just released. So I'm probably gonna check that out. The Rhythm Roulette for Timbaland is at 134,000 right now. I figure that one probably will eventually get into the 500,000 plus domain. Let me just look at some of the big ones here. Just looking, if Easy Mo B 2 years ago is at 446, and just considering like Easy Mo B hasn't had like any big songs in quite some time. He's obviously a legend. Easy Mo B is a legend. He is a legend. He's done some super big records, and some of my favorite records he's done. Everything Remains Raw, Flavor in Your Ear, classics. Easy Mo B is one of the illest on the SB 1200 ever. So his is at 446K right now. Just looking. I'm just trying to get a gauge for like how much visibility the Mass Appeal platform has, because they also kind of went dormant for a while. They didn't do Rhythm Roulette for quite some time. A-Track episode has 303K. Let's see. I'm just trying to find a standout one here. I don't know how much they could have really paid him in the end for this, because just to be transparent. Let me look at I know the Knife Wonder episode was a pretty big one. That's one of the big ones that pops up in the search. Let's look at the DJ Dahi one, Kendrick Lamar producer, right? 8 years ago, he did this 8 years ago. It has 465K. Just thinking about the math on the revenue share part, and rhythm roulette, I don't even think they can do revenue share because it's sample based, right? So they have to monetize it otherwise. So there's that, right? Because it's a sample based platform, like they're listening to records, they're playing records, like they played they played what did they play? I think they played Sexy Back, or what song? Somebody remember what song? I don't remember what song they played at the beginning, but they're playing stuff that's licensed. That's the point. So they can't really monetize it off a revenue share per se, unless they have some type of deal with YouTube. That's why I don't do a lot of like sample based production on this platform, because you can't monetize it. William O says Eric Sermon got 1.2 million views over 10 years. So 1.2, if it was revenue shared, right? 1.2 million views would be about maybe $3,000. Maybe $3,000. This is Timbaland, right? This is Timbaland. $3,000. If they split that down the middle and say, hey, here's $1,500, that's nothing for Timbaland. Timbaland can probably get on a Twitch stream and do like a marathon and get enough donations and whatnot. And if I don't know if he charges, does anyone know if he charges to do the beat reviews or whatever? He can make $1,500 in a single session on live streaming. I don't know. I don't know Mass Appeal's business. I don't know how they really monetize the rhythm roulette part of it. It might just be like helping them to get, it might be a lead generator for them. Like they get more people into the subscribership, and then maybe some of the other stuff is more where they monetize. I don't know what their strategy is, but I will tell you that even if they paid him $3,000, that's nothing. That's nothing. I don't know what they paid him. I hope they paid him heftily, but I can't. It would be hard for me to make sense of it right now as far as them paying, because I don't see where they will make money off of the actual video itself, because it has samples in it. They cannot monetize that. That's not a monetized video for them. So I wonder. I don't know, but these are the things that come to mind now. Like as I start to like think about it analytically, I don't know, and everybody's like bar for heftily is different, right? Somebody paying you $5,000 to get on a video might feel like, man, that's a gang of money. But then for someone like Timbaland that also talks about getting paid $300,000 for a beat, $5,000 for a video of him making a beat that they get to own, that Mass Appeal would get to own forever. Who knows? So I can see why someone would hold back. That's my hope. That's my point. It's like, I don't know what the business behind it is, but if Mass Appeal owns the video, if that's their video for them to repurpose and leverage in perpetuity forever, and he doesn't benefit from that overall, like, yeah, I probably would hold back too. I would, for me, going on Mass Appeal, I would approach it very seriously, and I would do as much as I could to make it at least an entertaining experience. And I'm not comparing myself to Timbaland at all. I don't have Timbaland's accolades. My accolades exist in a different domain. But I would say as a sample based producer as well, like when I approach samples, I approach samples, um, seriously, and I approach it like I approach creating my own original music. So you would see that process, and you would see how I go about taking a sample and adding additional music and other things. You would see that I would provide that, even if it wasn't like my best beat ever. I would approach it like I'm trying to make it as good as possible, and like make it sound as big as possible, and I would take the time to do it. So um anyhow, this ain't about this ain't about Timbaland per se. I think we just kind of following up, because I did notice people got butt hurt about some of what I was saying in my last stream about these legendary music producers. And like I said, I think most of it was not criticism. Most of it was actually just looking at how much praise and expectation we have for producers like that, and comparing that to what we received, and noting that a lot of people in the comments were also disappointed based upon like what he displayed in the end. But I think it's because such a high expectation. But I do know that some people in this community will fight you to death when you attack their God. Um, these legendary producers are not my God, so I think they can be critiqued. I think the critique that I offered was constructive, wasn't disrespectful. I highly respect Timbaland and Dr. Dre for that matter, but I think they are not. Objectively, I can still add some criticism to what's being done. I didn't say that they were garbage. I didn't say anything that they did was garbage. Um, I just said that obviously the comments and also the numbers in the case of the Dr. Dre and Snoop album kind of show that these products weren't as well received in the end. Like they said that the Missionary album was among Snoop's lowest selling record in his catalog. So that's not me. I'm not saying it's garbage. That's literally what the media is now reporting because of the first week sales. So I'm definitely gonna make some comments on it, and I can tell you why I didn't necessarily like Missionary. On the flip side, with the Timbaland Rhythm Roulette, I can tell you what I didn't like about it, but I'm also looking at a lot of the overwhelming negative comments on that particular episode, and definitely want to make some assessments on why he's receiving such a negative backlash on his episode. So I would say don't take what I'm doing as being purposely disrespectful. Don't take it as me trying to assert myself like I'm better than Timbaland, because it's nothing like that. It's all, like I said, it's coming from a place of respect and reverence in the end. And I actually I want to see that stuff. I want to see him come to the table and bring something that is inspiring in the end. I think that's what I care about. Flew Away said, "Peace family, that Timbo Mass Appeal beat probably hit like Headsprung. He puts when he puts a mastering on it. Maybe not. I didn't get the impression that it was that level of a beat. That was just my perspective, though. I didn't get the impression that it was that crazy of a beat where it would hit like Headsprung. Let me see here. Did I lose connection, y'all? Let me know, because my YouTube console's tripping now. Let me know in the chat if you can still hear me, if I'm still here, because it's definitely not showing me in the YouTube console. Yeah, somebody in the chat let me know if I'm still here. Mm, I got time today, so I'm gonna chill. But let's see if the YouTube console comes back because it definitely crashed or something. Mm-mm-mm. Still here. Okay, appreciate you. Yeah, like for whatever reason, like, and this ain't the first time that this happened. Something's going on with the YouTube console stream manager. Let me see if I can get back into it. If not, I'll just keep going from OBS. It's not like that big of a deal. Don't need it that much really. Um, let's see. Okay, appreciate y'all. KD, what's good with you, fam? Appreciate you for joining. Um, Black Seed Beats, I appreciate you, bro. He said, bro, I would never take your words as disrespect pertaining to music. I never heard you take that tone about anyone. Exactly. That's never where I'm coming from. You know, I'm trying to provide some objective opinions on stuff. But you know, some people took it as disrespect and definitely got into some spirited debates. Nobody got disrespectful. Some people were like, well, you know, that beat he made on Rhythm Roulette was better than your whole catalog. And, you know, to each his own. Like, personally, I disagree. And I have the right to disagree. I personally know that I have some music in my catalog that is better than what was done on Rhythm Roulette. But I think overall, I don't. The point wasn't to like look at it in terms of like whether I can do something better than Timbaland. I'm not on Timbaland's level as far as like my impact on music and culture. So that'd be silly for me to act like, yeah, like Timbaland sucks. And I'm like, somebody could clip that right now. But if I would never come from that perspective. But I know some people took it that way and was like, well, where's your music? But, you know, on YouTube, it's funny because there's a lot of people that commentate on videos and music and whatnot and want to say bad, weird things to content creators. And then it's like when you go to their profile, they don't have anything. I've seen people say the wildest stuff like, I'm a musician and I got this. And I had one dude on a past video talking about like, I'm a real musician and you know, they were commenting on like hip hop not being real music and there's no real musicianship in whatever. And they're a real musician and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know, when I looked at their page, it's like, oh, if you're a real musician, I mean, I don't know, man. Like it's we're about to be in 2025. Like you don't have anything on, yeah, you don't have anything on your platform. You don't have anything to showcase what you do. If you're a real musician, you like, where's the value that you're providing? If you're gonna comment on like hip hop not being real music and all this other weird, you know, frankly anti-black stuff, and I had to call it out. It was frankly like some of the stuff that was being said, like was saying hip hop has made no contribution to music and you know, it just contributes violence and all this weird stuff that was like I said, it was anti-black. We don't talk about opera as contributing to Italian on Italian violence, you know, and a lot of Italian people listen to opera and is celebrated as being a real art form that has provided lots of cultural contribution and is still not looked at as something that is contributing to the violence in this world. Somehow hip hop, you know, because it is associated with Black American culture, now gets demonized as being part of the problem when no other music form is demonized in that way. And I think when people make those types of comments, they are buying into propaganda and not really critically looking at the situation and understanding why, even though the music may be adjacent to things that are violent, it is not the cause of violence, because obviously people were doing drive-by shootings in the 40s to jazz music. They were listening to jazz music and pulling out Tommy guns and all kind of stuff. And in the 60s and the 70s, they was listening to soul music and pulling up and doing crime and other kind of stuff while listening to soul and funk music and whatever else, right? So it's not that the music is the problem. There's other issues that are involved in that create this dynamic. And I think the music is just the music of the time and the culture, but it is not the contributing factor of what is causing the actual degeneracy in any culture. Like CB says, a person that go hard beat go hard track you did a few years ago. Man, no, I appreciate you. You've been a long supporter, bro. You definitely have supported my platform, man. I really appreciate you. DMG, howdy. Nikosi Edward, appreciate the super chat. Says, how can I get into music tech? I'm currently in IT. Obviously, skill set is a big thing, right? Skill set is a huge thing. Do you have the skill set? What skill sets do you have that can help you to add value in the music tech domain? You said you're in IT. Do you program? Can you script? If you can script, that gives you an opportunity to start looking at companies that require scripting. And if you can learn a new scripting platform like, context scripting or, other scripting platforms, you can start to get work in music tech, knowing how to script. You don't even have to necessarily be like the craziest musician or recording engineer or anything like that. Like if you can script, that opens up a lot of opportunities already. So can you program? If you can program in other languages, higher level programming languages, if you can, if you know C++ or, something else that can allow you to start developing software applications, then you're even in better shape. So as a person that's in IT, I would say, well, what are your programming skills like? Do you have any programming skills? If you're in IT, you probably could acquire that skill. You being in IT could probably acquire programming skills faster than someone that has never dealt with like computers on that level. So I would recommend you approach it from that perspective. Use your advantages of being already in tech in that domain, and pick up a couple of skill sets like, learn some scripting languages, learn C++ or learn something that allows you to add a value with, especially in the software domain today. But if you can program, I think that gives you a big advantage. I think obviously if you have engineering, like mechanical engineering or electrical engineering experience, that also could help you to get into music tech. Being a mechanical or especially an electrical engineer, like being able to build circuits and components and whatnot, and understanding design principles will allow you to get into that domain. It gives you an advantage. It's not the only thing, right? I would start with the skill set. From there, network. Do you know anybody in music tech actively that's in music tech? Get out to some events, get out to some conferences, get out to trade shows. NAMM is coming up in January. You're going to be surrounded by a lot of people at NAMM in the music tech domain that you can talk to and start to make those connections and start to create those ways for you to start working and collaborating with people in music tech. Network, Get out to places where people in music tech are so that you can connect with them. And then again, it has to do like you have to have something of value to bring. You have to have a skill set. If you don't have skill set, then you can talk the talk all you want to, but you got to be able to walk the walk as well. You can't just say I do X, Y, Z. And it doesn't matter that you're like, you love music, you're interested in music. Like realistically, there's so many musicians and people that love music that would love to work in music tech that don't necessarily have the real skill sets that are needed by these larger companies in music tech in the first place. So, you'd be surprised. Music tech companies get thousands and thousands of unqualified resumes and applications because everybody that's doing music thinks that they're qualified to then work in music tech, because all you got to do is like really know like about music production or whatever, and now all of a sudden you think you're qualified. And it's like it's not like that at all. You definitely have to have some very specific skill sets, and I think you have to be able to showcase that you have that skill set, build a portfolio up, get a website together so that you can show what skill sets you have. Don't just rely on a piece of paper like a document or whatever to show like, hey, like this is my resume, but have a website with a portfolio that showcases all the things that you've done as well. Get your LinkedIn together, market yourself as what you believe in terms of value that you can bring to the table, and network. That's my suggestion to you. Get some more tea. William Ellington left. I appreciate you. Obscure Beats, I appreciate you, fam. I appreciate you for sure. Black Sea says the barter system only works when both parties have something to offer. Can't be one-sided. Absolutely. But that's why I said there's people that have approached me to do videos, and I've done plenty of free videos with people, live streams or whatever. But I think people got to get real with that as well. Like you got to have something else to offer. You can't just be like, hey, like I want you to be on my platform, because the thing is, well, especially in the case where your platform is smaller than mine. I don't have a huge platform here. I have a mid-size, like lower mid-size platform at this point. People have like hundreds of thousands of and millions of subscribers in the music tech domain at this point, in the music production space. I don't have a huge platform, but if my platform is larger than yours and you're asking me to do something which entails me doing 2 hours worth of stream content, whatever, you got to really think about it. Like what value are you offering me as part of the barter? It's like you're not offering me anything, and I think that's a problem in itself. Like when you just kind of come like, hey, I'm doing this thing too, and you could help me to like expand my audience. It's like, nah, it don't work like that. That's not professional. Let's see here. Metal Freaks 2000 says, thank you for keeping things real. Sometimes the truth hurts. You need to spend a little money to make that money. Absolutely. People can't be afraid to spend money, especially for stuff that is going to help them to move themselves forward. I think even, today, you got so many options. Like music producer can spend some money on a platform and promote their platform to, or promote what they do to hundreds of thousands and even millions of people by just spending some money, right? Like you can, if you're on BeatStars, if you're one of these guys that sell beats on BeatStars, I'm one of them. If you're one of these guys that sell beats on BeatStars, they have promotional tools that will help you to get more engagement and impressions on your music, and you got to spend money to do so. But I think if you take yourself seriously and you want more people to hear what you're doing, you should be willing to spend money on yourself. Like there's Facebook and the Facebook advertising. You can spend money on Facebook advertising and get your music out to a wider audience, and you can target those ads and focus on different platforms within the Facebook ecosystem. You can say, I just want to focus on doing ads in IG and that sort of thing. Like there's so many things that you can do to level up what you're doing, and it does cost money. It's not only about spending money on gear. Sometimes it's about the education and like consultations and whatnot, and spending money to get access to just the information that you need. Years ago, I had to put a consultation option on my website because I had so many people emailing me and messaging me about like, hey, how do I hook up this? How do you do this? Can you teach me? Can you tell me how to do this? Can you tell me how to do that? Wanting my information and wanting me to spend time. And even if I type it out, it's taking time. If I type an email, and I'm pretty thorough on how I type emails. So if I make an email to tell you about something, I'm taking the screenshots and I'm laying it out and I'm giving you steps and I'm doing all these things. That's time. That's time, effort, and energy. That shouldn't be free. There's no way that should be free. I'm, if you call somebody's, if you call your favorite software hardware company that has a tech support line, they got to pay the tech support staff. That's not free. You can't just get free tech support and expect, you shouldn't expect free tech support, period. Like you should not expect that. Tech support, my dude just said he's in IT, literally like that means he is on call for IT support. That's not free. Troubleshooting IT issues, that costs money. And with music tech and music production, we're all like, as someone that also consults and helps people to set up their studios and whatnot, that type of consultation, like if you were working in the actual business, then you would know that hiring a tech to wire your studio costs money. Bringing a tech in to do things to help you to get your production station set up costs money. That's not free. You should not expect that for free from anybody. It's a real skill set, and it takes a lot of time and effort for people to actually perform this stuff. So you got to spend money, and that's why I put the whole reorganizing the studio process behind a paywall, because realistically, it's more to it than just like, hey, you get to see my process. But we were talking about it, and we were comparing things and doing all kind of like deep analysis on stuff, and I was telling you the process as we go, and that's not free. Like I had to do a lot to set that up to make that happen. It's not free. But yeah, if you want to get access to that stuff, join the members only side of my platform. Like it's $4.99. It's not a super expensive membership. You can cancel at any time. Like I'm not gonna be heartbroken if you get it for a month and cancel just because you want to see like the latest thing. It's fine. It's only $4.99. It's not, if by the time I do 5 videos in there, you paid $1 per video. And the amount of information that I provide on videos, I think it's well worth it. So I will commit to at least offering 5 new videos or streams within the monthly subscription. So, I think if I'm only charging you $1 per video for that information, don't trip. Don't get butt hurt because I put that behind a paywall. Let's see here, Obscure Streets. I'm just going backwards now in the chat because I missed a lot of stuff. I know I was talking for a long time. Obscure Street says, this is software against hardware, bro. You doing professional job. Respect. Appreciate that, fam. DJ Cool Breeze, appreciate you, fam. Dr. 808, the Earth Shaker says, is your S3200 the XL version? I have an S3000, not the 3200. He said, I used to own a S3200 XL back in the early 2000s, but sold it not long before I got my MPC 4000. Yeah, I got the S3000, not the 3200. Let's see. Let's see here. Just getting back. Get at Nard says they had Timbaland blindly picking records, had an urban outfit out of Urban Outfitters. Not sure what people expected, but that's how high people hold him up. I mean, the whole Urban Outfitters thing kind of is funny to me too, because they should have went to like a record store. They should have. I think that would have been more fair. I wish they would have gone to a record store and not something like that to pick out records. That's kind of insane. I'm so sexy. Happy holidays to you too, fam. JP says I can hear the difference between Apple Music and YouTube Music app. Absolutely, they sound different. Absolutely. Obscure Beast says if you know how to use a tool, you can have great uses of that tool. Yep, that's real talk. It's about mastery of the tools. It's not just about just putting quantize on or Autotune on and expecting it to automatically make the beat or the song sound good. JP said if you play gospel, they are most deaf slapping your hand with a ruler if you hit that quantize button. Yep. You shouldn't be hitting quantize for everything, in my opinion. But sometimes it becomes stylistic. Some styles do require just everything to be quantized, and I can respect that. But I think because I tend to be within the domain of electronic soul and funk music, some of this stuff got to be free, man. It can't all be quantized. Not for what I do. It won't work. But I think it does become a little bit more style oriented as well. Getting back to the bottom of the chat here. I'm so sexy says, what's your take on women producers? Are they underrated and overlooked? The fact that we have to make a distinction between women and men in the production side is weird because it's not like, this ain't basketball, right? It's music. It's not. I think if we're talking about like boxing or basketball, football, any athletic sport for that matter, where there's differences in just anatomy that create unfair advantages for a male. I think you have to have that conversation, but for music, that shouldn't even be like, you shouldn't even have to look at that as a distinction. There's no advantage in terms of your ability to make music as a man or a woman for that matter. So I think it's weird to like have such a divide and distinction. I would say in general, the only advantage that a man really has on making music over a woman is really the amount of time they have to dedicate to said craft. Because I do realize that women do have to spend a bit more time focusing on like other things. If you're a mother, you have obviously you have to spend more time dealing with your children and raising your children, and a man may not have as much. Some men don't have so much involvement with the raising of their children. Some do. I think there are men out there that are really stepping up to the plate and have a lot more engagement with their children. And I would hope that all you guys that are watching on the stream are those guys as well. I hope that you have a heavy engagement and involvement with the raising of your children. But I think women also tend to have to do more of that, just on average. And then also just like if you look at grooming and like the procedures and processes that women go through in terms of grooming themselves, like how long it takes for them to get their hair done or to do their hair themselves and to put makeup on and other things that man may not need to do it all. Um, I think that also takes from the time that they may have to dedicate to said craft of music production. Because your average person that average guy that produces music on the side as a hobby or whatever does it in their spare time after work. Most of the people that make music or do music production are not doing it full time. So a lot of people are hobbyists and don't have the ability to make music outside of their nine to or don't have time to make music during like their 9 to 5, right? Like basically they have to wait until they get home and have gotten things in order at the house and whatnot, right? So the advantage for the man is obviously like, you may have a little bit more time because you don't have to focus on some of these other things that a woman may have to focus on. And I'm being general. Every woman is not the same. Some women don't have to deal with that at all. They have different situations. They don't have to do any of that. So don't don't try to take this and run a narrative that I'm creating a sexist narrative with what I'm saying. I'm just generalizing here, but that's one thing that I saw was that, you know, um, looking at the amount of time it takes to do certain things as a woman, I could see where you would have less time, less spare time to focus on learning the craft of music production. So just prefacing it, right? That being said, some of my favorite music producers are women. Um, One of my favorite music producers is Georgia Ann Muldrow. Um, she's incredible as a music producer. She's deeply inspiring to me. She's highly talented. Um, I would say if we have to make this distinction or kind of like separation on music production between genders, Georgia Ann Muldrow is the female Jay Dilla. I think that's the only way to really put it. She's the female Jay Dilla. If you had to if you had to say there was a woman that had the same abilities and range as Jay Dilla, it's Georgia Ann Muldrow. Um, she's absolutely amazing. I've worked with her. I've had the pleasure of working with her and had the pleasure of chopping it up with her, talking, nerding out, just talking music production. She knows her stuff. Um, Without question, she is a very talented music producer. Like I said, I see her as the female Jay Dilla. So I think women very much have a place in music production. It's unfortunate that more women aren't in music production because I think they bring another vibe and energy to what they're doing as well. But yeah, I think they're overlooked, but I also just think they're underrepresented. I wish um, more companies would work with female music producers, and yeah, I think there needs to be a bit more of a wider spread in terms of how music production is represented. I think my analytics tell me like literally 100% of the people that watch these streams are males from the analytics at least. um, and I wonder if even if there are women that watch it, they may be watching on a profile that doesn't specify their sex or gender. But yeah, I think they're underrepresented. That's what I would say. Um, let's see. What is that? Crunk Monkey, I think that's what it is. Crunk Monkey says, regarding YouTube, I've definitely noticed that female producers receive a different sort of negativity, negging, delegitimization, instant cynicism about playing the same monetization game as everyone else. Yeah, that's unfortunate. It shouldn't be like that. I think if they put their work in and have studied their craft and are doing good music. I mean, it's music at the end of the day. Like I don't think you can hear a beat and say, oh, a man made that or a female made that. I don't think you that that is possible. I think, yeah, of course, when you hear someone singing, yeah, like you can hear the difference. But I mean, Patrice Rushen is fire. I mean, Patrice Rushen could bang out and make music with the best of them. Um, yeah, I don't think they should be delegitimized at all. I think if they put the work in, if they're a master of their craft and know how to produce, know how to play, like then it's just music. Like I love what Patrice Rushen does. I think she's amazing. So yeah, female producers. I think you know, we shouldn't even be like really making it such a huge distinction between genders when it comes not when it comes to music. It's not sports. Like I said, if it was sports, we talking about something like super physical, sure. But this ain't that. This is music. Um, INQC says, if you want to make money doing music, what would be your angle? Um, be high level with that. What would be my angle? You know what? It my angle. You talking about my angle or what should your angle be? Because my angle is gonna be different from your angle because just the skill sets and what you can do are different. What you can do is different from what I can do. Um, I have obviously a lot of experience within music tech, so that's already something that I can provide as far as like um, skill set is concerned. Obviously, also being a producer, musician, um, recording engineer, and whatnot, um, I can make sample libraries. Everybody can't make sample libraries. Not everybody has the skill set to do so. There's a lot of people that sell samples now that don't have that skill set. But if you actually have the skill set, then you can do it. That's something I can do. Make sample libraries. Outside of that, obviously, um, a lot of musicians that have acquired a certain set of skills also become teachers. And that's part of what I do as a musician is also offer my skill set in a way that is instructive. So like having the ability to instruct people, whether that be in person or whether that be online, that's another way that you can monetize. So that's already like a few different angles right there, right? Um, Obviously, putting out your music and selling it, asking a actual price for it. Don't just put it on Spotify. Don't just put it on, like your favorite streaming platform, but actually asking a price for it is another way that you can monetize. Um, there's many ways to monetize. I think you got to see where you actually add value and put a price on it. That's the real point in the end. Where can you add a value? What can you do to add a value? And then what price can you put on it? Some of y'all are adding some other names, and I want to acknowledge that. INQC said, for my generation is Wonder Girl. Yep, that's she's definitely talented. Smooth art, yeah. Chloe Bailey, yeah, she definitely talented as well. I've seen her get down. I think Doja Cat makes beats too. Doja Cat is talented too. I've seen her produce music as well. So Chloe Bailey, Doja Cat, Linnell. I've talked to Linnell. Linnell is super dope. Also a machine user. Um, yeah, there's a lot of dope female producers out there. I don't think there's any reason to look at them like as being like a different class or league of producers in the end. If you can play music, if you know how to record music, um, you can be a music producer. There's nothing like physical. Obviously, um, you got to have, in order to play keyboards and things like that, or drums or whatever, you might need to have some hands and legs maybe. But AI is going to fix that soon as well. We'll see. But I think for the most part, as far as gender goes, there's no distinction that should be made around that. But yeah, there's a ton of dope female producers. I've worked with a few dope female producers over time. One of the first female producers that I worked with, not a big name, but she's just been doing it for a very long time and very skilled as a music producer, as far as like her ability to produce records and sing and songwrite and rap and do the, like pretty much be a full just a full service producer. Octavia Harris. I've worked with her for a very long time. I started working with her in 2003, and she was been producing before I started producing. She's actually one of the first people that helped me get a placement. We got our first placement together on the Need for Speed, one of the Need for Speed videos. But yeah, Octavia Harris is a talented producer in her own right, and very skilled. You can find her on YouTube as well. She still does like music and live streams and whatnot. Look her up. I think that's what she's going by now. Is it's either Octavia Harris or Queen Octavia Harris. But yeah, I've worked with talented music producers over time that are female, and I think if you're good, you're good. Period. If you're good, you're good. Let's see. Crunk Monkey says, I can show you how to mix that better. Why do you have such nice gear? Interesting. Interesting. I don't think I understand. Maybe you're responding to something I said. I didn't understand those comments there. But Jack Bauer, yeah. Patrice Rushen is super underrated. I had to mention that because she got fired. She got hits, and she should be talked about more. And she also does like she also does stuff like live instruction and seminars and whatnot. So Gird Up International. Okay, dope. You're familiar with Queen O. I figure so. That actually makes sense. That makes sense that you're familiar with her. She's definitely dope. I worked with her since she was known as Gemini. That's how far we go back. She was known as Gemini back in the day. But yeah. Yeah. I think we're at the 2 hour mark. I'm getting hungry now. I don't want the microphone to start picking up my stomach grumbling. Jason B, welcome to the family. Appreciate you, fam. Welcome to the family. Jason B just became a true sound creator. Congratulations. I appreciate you. We getting our group together, fam. So the membership is here. I wanted to do this membership for quite some time. I just knew I couldn't like really commit to the commitment at that time. But I wanted to do this a while ago because I knew there was some other things that I can do under a membership that would make a lot more sense. But we're going to keep this going, fam. This won't be the last stream, obviously. I'm going to keep this one up. Obviously, this is not a members only one. This is not going to go away. So if you didn't catch the whole thing, go back and watch it because I did go over like a lot of the hypocrisy in the music producer community. I think we need to check ourselves on it, and we need to have a little bit more grace for each other in the end. I think closing this up, in this season. We are in this holiday season. Christmas is tomorrow. And for me, Christ is the reason for the season, and I believe in grace. I believe in treating people like I want to be treated, and I think some of this stuff, Jesus told us, like we have to check the the plank in our eye, before we judge someone else. Not that you can't judge someone. We definitely got to check you got to remove the plank from your own eye before you start to judge other people. I think so. In this era and in this time of year, we should reflect and kind of look at, are there areas that we can improve ourselves and improve what we're doing, and not just be so judgmental of everybody else's things and what they're doing. Because there's a lot of hypocrisy in the producer community, especially. But yeah, man, I want to wish y'all all a Merry Christmas. I will not be streaming tomorrow. I'm gonna take tomorrow off. Definitely want to spend some time with family and whatnot. But I thank y'all for joining me today. I know y'all could be doing a whole bunch of other things. Some of y'all probably need to still be doing some last minute shopping or whatever. But I appreciate y'all for joining. It's been a pleasure speaking with y'all and hanging with y'all for these past couple hours. Join the True Sound Creators. Join the membership if you want to get access to the exclusive content that we're doing, because we're going to be doing a lot more stuff. We did a dope live stream yesterday. I kind of showed people the process of connecting my S3000 and reconfiguring it and troubleshooting and all that stuff. It was a good live stream. I know a lot of people got value. The True Sound Creators that are in there got some value. So we're going to be continuing to do a lot more valuable stuff. Also did an MP60 mode comparison. That's a whole live stream, whole bunch of great information. Some crazy stuff was discovered, some stuff that a lot of you guys probably don't even realize. Definitely check that out. Become a member. Like I said, it's $4.99. My membership is not crazy. Some people have some super high prices on their membership. For the level of information I'm providing and the value, I think it'll be well worth your time. Excuse me. Tyrone Sellers, appreciate the super chat, fam. Says y'all go out and check on your friends and tell them you love them, and thank you, Mr. West. Appreciate you. Salute, fam. Appreciate you. Much love to everybody here. Wishing y'all a Merry Christmas. And I will probably see y'all after Christmas. We'll definitely do some stuff before New Year's, so I'm not going to be gone that long. But yeah, enjoy your time with your family and friends. And yeah, man, continue to lift each other up, man. I think in this time, if we want to have a real music community, we got to lift each other up and start to really look at how we can add value to each other. Gird Up had one quick message. Let me get to that real quick. UAD Spark, is it a good UAD Spark? Is it a good sub? What you mean? Do you mean, is it a good interface? What do you mean? I don't know what you're asking here with that. UAD Spark. Yeah, I don't know what you're at. Oh, he's subscription. I'm sorry. I get what you mean. Is it a good subscription? I don't know. I don't have it. Couldn't tell you about that. So I'm gonna tell you with software. I don't like subscriptions for software. And the reason is because I think it complicates the setup in the end, especially if I need to have the same thing across multiple systems, sometimes the licensing and just the access and the ability to transfer things or run concurrent sessions and things like that is limited. Um, so that's why I personally don't like software subscriptions. Some of the software subscriptions have a good enough licensing agreement where they don't like limit the amount of concurrent installations you have, and it's not so restrictive on um, what you're doing. But I generally don't like the limitation of a software subscription, especially. I think they tend to also get nickel and dimey. Like with my content, video content subscription, you can watch the content um, and then leave, and then you don't have a dependency on me in the future. Like the information, hopefully you take your notes, you put into practice what we're talking about, and you move on. And if you don't need to subscribe to me anymore because you're not getting the value anymore, you can still take the knowledge with you. Plugin subscription, a lot of times when you stop, you don't have access to the tools anymore. If you have sessions, depending on how they've done the plugin subscription, you may not be able to access the parameters and things. You may not be able to make changes, and it creates a situation where you can get stuck. And I don't like that. I don't like. I don't think it's a good deal in the end when you create a dependency on something that realistically you probably should own and be able to just to use whenever you need to. So I'm not a big fan of software plugin subscriptions for music production tools, because I won't say I don't like software subscriptions. I think some subscriptions make a lot of sense. Like I have a excuse me, I have a Canva subscription. I think it's good. I get to use the tools. I get to make my thumbnails and do whatever else I need to do to make my content and whatnot. It's good. I have other subscriptions that help me to do different things that are related to like the domain of content and production that I do. Like some of the AI generated thumbnails that I've had. I use vidIQ. Excuse me. I think it's cool. But I could stop using that and not have any dependency on that. What I've made. I'll still have access to the thumbnails that I made, and I won't have to worry about, oh, what if I needed to do X, Y, Z? Like I've already used it. So that type of subscription I think is cool. But when it's like locked into your DAW and things that you need to be able to have access to, like you may make a beat right now and then, you had some subscription stuff that you use as a plugin, and then, somebody might pick up the beat later. And if you don't still have that subscription, you may not be able to like continue to produce the record and make modifications and things to things that were under subscription if you don't still have it. So I generally like avoid a subscription when it comes to music production, like plugins, like any type of effects, or also like synths and whatnot. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm just not. Tyrone Siller says I'm getting rid of output and FL subscription, wasted time. Only used them three times in a year. I think a lot of these things need to have a perpetual option in the end. I think perpetual options still make sense. I don't care what it is. Like within the music production domain, when there's a tendency to like do so many revisions on things, I think you got to have a perpetual. All right, I'm gonna call it here. Now my throat is still getting a little bit froggy now. I'm hungry. Appreciate y'all, man. It's been good. I'm gonna get at y'all after Christmas, man. I want to tell y'all peace and God bless, and yeah, remember the reason for the season, fam.